all of them,
but
everybody
Fantasia, hands down,
Everybody
Fantasia has
can't
been killing
win.
it.
She has been.
She's been killing it. Every look, every single absolute look, and the intentionality around the designers.
Yes.
Around it as well. And she's a Carolina girl. So yes. Okay, y'all got me in trouble already.
Welcome back to another episode of Got This in Black. It's the Kid Chukwuemeke back again. Your favorite black fashion show checking in. And I guess across from me now, we got the better half of the podcast. Andima, how are you doing?
I'm good. I've had a good March so far. I was in Brazil not too long ago. Brazil, Rio de Janeiro.
Closer to the mic.
Oh. Rio de Janeiro.
Rio de Janeiro.
Someone please help me with that. That's not how you say it.
Rio de Janeiro. I was just there in February. So shout out Brazil.
We'll have to talk about that. Yeah. So clearly I don't have the carioca accent. You know, I pronounce things the Spanish way. I apologize. But yes, I've been good. How about you, Chuck?
I've been good. It's definitely an interesting season in my life. So just taking it one day at a time for real. So yeah.
Well, today we have with us someone who is near and dear to my heart, my line sister, Miss Jotaka Eaddy.
Deltas in the house.
The Reds in the building.
Despite this green that I have on,
Yeah.
it is Delta for me.
Yeah,
Delta
exactly.
Sigma Theta.
Delta Sigma Theta. That's the only way.
It's the only way.
All right. And so my line sister she's a boss, okay, y'all? You're going to hear how big a boss she is today, but she is a boss. And she's wearing a boss outfit. And so we're going to talk a little bit about fashion, talk about her career, talk about how those two connect. So, Jotaka, I'm going to have you introduce yourself a little bit and tell the people who you are.
Yes, well, I'm just really glad to be here with you both. So thank you. So I don't know, how do I start? First of all, I'm from South Carolina.
Yeah.
I grew up on a dirt road. I'm an activist first. Most people know me as a businesswoman and a strategist, founder and CEO of Full Circle Strategies, which is a social impact strategy consulting firm. I also am an investor, and I invest in tech companies, and I am also an advocate. And a lot of people think of me as a dot connector. So I connect the dots, but what's really most important to me is driving impact and just being a force for good. And so I do that whether it's in the personal philanthropy that I do in my investments or if it's in my business on a day-to-day basis. You know, the thing that really connects it all is impact. How am I driving impact? How am I taking people who are pushing the margins and putting them back in the center where they absolutely belong?
Okay.
And I can just one little thing to add. And I gotta brag on my line sister a little bit. Because she leads in such an authentic way, she's been able to sit at the table and be in rooms that y'all just would not even believe. And I'm sure she will tease some of this when we talk about, get into the questions. But, it's just a testament to how if you are passionate about something and you lead with love, everything will come. So y'all will see.
Amen.
That's interesting that you say that because what's been on my mind, I think, really since earlier this month. And I was in a meeting, and it was just a reminder of some values that, at the top of that conversation. And I've walked away with this saying, the greatest of thee is love. And so love, like when you talk about like leading with love, acting with love, caring with love, giving grace with love, like that's just really been a theme. And so the fact that you bring it up, I hope we can dive into that because it's really been sitting with me, like this notion of love. What is it to love? What is it to be loved? Love the thing that you do, or love the people in your life. It's just a lot, but the greatest of the truly is love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Period.
Period.
Yeah, she already dropping bars. We in the intro. Sheesh. Okay. This is about to be an episode. I like the energy. Okay, so before we get into it, let's get into the fits. Yeah. So I'll start it off today. I have this, it's like a sweater rugby, good energy from AL Studio 21, which is a black-owned brand in the area. That's really the only black-owned thing I got. I can't remember where I got these pants from. Been in my closet forever.
I like the hat though.
Thank you.
My dad wears brims, so like my dad is like known for wearing his hat. So I really like
that.
It's giving me. It's not giving me daddy vibes, but it's definitely reminding me of my father.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay.
If that's a distinction, right? Like,
yes.
It's a compliment.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
you.
I
like that. Important distinction.
So, what are you wearing?
So I am wearing Hanifa, which is well, I guess you would say local, but
they're known,
I'm in the DMV,
local,
so
but
they're
nationwide.
known. They're
nationwide,
known.
But
Exactly.
she hails from this area, this part of the country.
Yep.
And my shoes actually are black-owned designer as well, Kiari. I actually met her I was at an NFT. I was speaking at a Ted Lucas, CEO of Slip and Slide Records. Yes. You know who's giving us Trina, Rick Ross, Slides, all those folks. Who's actually an investor.
For real?
He's a tech investor now as well.
That's
and so he and I met. And both being investors in the tech world, connected. And I was invited to a conference that he had put on, Miami NFT, and we were backstage, and I met this young woman, and she was like, I have a luxury shoe line, and my shoes are in, Nordstrom's and different places. I looked at her shoes. I love them.
Yeah.
I immediately went and got me a pair, and so Kiara, her boots, shoes is distinctive. The heel is very distinctive.
Yeah, no, I was looking at the heel. I'm like, this
it's
is
like
fire.
a very distinct, very comfortable. So so I'm rocking black fashion designers today. Although when we dive into it, I don't know how fashionable I am, but
child, let's agree to disagree if that's what you're gonna say. We'll talk about it.
Y'all see the fit now.
Exactly. All right, what am I wearing? Okay, well. We don't care about the top or the bottom. That's just Zara and I don't know, Forever 21 throwback there. But these shoes, I've been coveting them. These are Joe Fresh Goods, New Balance collab. I think he has a new one out too recently.
Yes,
and I feel like these went on. I know I want the pink one so bad.
Yeah.
I think these went on sale because he put out, he's putting out the new collab.
Okay.
And I had been wanting these for a while. You remember on the episode with Arrington, I was like, I want those. Mm-hmm. So I finally got them.
Yeah, because he had them on
those
in the
cute.
episode.
Are they fun?
Yes.
And they look almost like a hiking shoe.
They do. And I love
vibes.
orange. Like you can see in my house.
Yeah.
I love orange. Like I did everything. Like I designed or decorated my house based off of, I have a painting or a print. It's a limited edition print. You can't see it. It's not in the camera shot, but it's to the defense. It's it's a Jacob Lawrence print. And so they only did 200 of these prints. So the 50th anniversary of commemorating NAACP Legal Defense Fund. And so everything in my house is around that color, and then orange is just kind of gravitated. So when I see orange in shoes, orange in clothes, I'm like, ooh, I like it. So,
orange is definitely one of my favorite colors too. I actually have a Hanifa top and bottom situation. I like the cow neck of yours. Mine's just orange pants, and then it's a button up.
Oh, I could check that out. I think also orange just looks good on brown skin. It's
Facts.
it just looks so good on melanated skin.
Facts.
Yes. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, there's a whole thread of just black women in orange, and it's just
orange. Yeah. Isn't that what they say? Orange.
Orange.
Oh, really? I am not here.
She got on that orange.
Oh, for real. I like that. I like that. Okay, so we're going to start off with a little game. I actually just thought about this about an hour ago, so run with me. So it's think March Madness a little bit, but it's a fashion fantasy bracket, so we're going to do 2 different sets. So the first set, we're going to do some people that you may know. It might be a little bit difficult to choose.
I was going to say, it's going to be hard.
But that's what makes it...
I set you up.
That's what makes it a little fun, Okay, so...
Don't get me in trouble now.
Listen...
You can blame me.
These people living?
They're
definitely living.
Okay.
Listen, I'm sorry.
You
All
have to call him up
right.
afterwards and be like,
Don't blame
Okay.
Jotaka.
Okay.
Put all the
right.
blame on
First
me.
of all, they set me up already.
Chukun Wike, put all the blame on me. Do not blame Jotaka, okay? All right, so the left side of the bracket is going to be, so we're going to talk about their style.
Oh,
so I'm gonna give you the
style.
So
it's based on style.
Yes.
Okay, it's based on style.
So not
All right.
person, you know.
Not personality.
Right?
Okay, style. Okay, I can do this.
So on the left side of the bracket, we got Angela Rye versus Lovey.
Those are two of my very good friends. Let's see.
Angela and Lovey, like I said, just blame me. It's
Angela
okay.
and Lovey, blame them. Okay, this is a hard one because Lovey actually just did this post about and on her newsletter. If you don't get her newsletter, I'm always shouting out folks like you got to follow Awesomely Lovey. But she talked about a blazer because she be doing it with the blazer.
Yeah, for sure.
Angela has a style that I love because Angela's always going to give you fashion.
Yeah.
And she's just going to give
Fashion.
you. Yeah, she's going to give you fashion. Let's see. I'm going to have to go with Angela.
Okay.
Angela is more my style because I don't do a lot of blazers.
Okay.
I don't feel like I could wear a blazer like Lovey could wear a blazer. Lovey does she's all the best sneakers. She was like the best pair of sneakers when the vice president did the hip hop. Lovey had the best
of
shoes,
course.
the best sneakers in the house.
Okay.
Because I don't really do sneakers, so I'm more of a heels and a dress. And Angela does that. Angela would give you an outfit. She would give you a dress. She would give you something showing like all of the fabulousness of her, like just her aura. Like I'm gonna go with Angela. But it's a close one, though.
Yeah.
It's a close one. They got two different distinct styles.
Yeah.
There's going to be some bragging rights after this. Okay. The right side of the bracket, we are going to do Oprah versus Fantasia.
Oh, you really are setting me up because, again, two people I know again. Don't get me in trouble. Do not get me in trouble with Lady O. Okay? First of all.
I take all the blame.
Okay, first of all, Lady O looks great right now, right?
Yeah,
I mean, she's always looked great, but honey, she has been giving, she has been killing it.
Yes.
Oh, I can't believe I'm about to do this. I cannot believe I'm about to do this.
Somebody has to get voted off the island. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, who votes Oprah Winfrey off of any island? She probably owns
She
the
owns
island.
the island, right?
She owns the island.
It's her
She
island.
created the island.
Yes.
But Fantasia has been. Fantasia's been.
Yeah.
That's
She's
my
been
girl.
giving all the looks. Like when I talk to stylists, I'm like, style me like that.
She been on a run.
She's been on it. She's been
Color
on it.
Purple
I've
run.
seen it up close and personal. I've seen the outfits. I've seen them, and she's been on the run. I'm gonna have to go with Fantasia. Oprah, I'm sorry. I love you, Oprah. I love you. I love you. I love you. But I gotta go with Fantasia on this one.
Got you. Okay, so the final to see the championship is going to be Angela Rye versus Fantasia. Who wins? Who gets bragging rights? Who gets to post on their Instagram?
Who is this?
Name the hottest.
Who is this? Okay, I think first of all, because I know Angela, I think Angela would agree. Fantasia has been killing it on this press tour with the color purple.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to give it to Fantasia.
Yeah.
Give it up for Fantasia.
Yeah, we gotta give it to Fantasia.
Fashion fantasy bracket.
But
Okay.
you know what? Shout out to Lovey and Oprah.
Yes,
Yeah.
shout
And
out to
Angela.
all of them.
Yeah.
But
But
everybody
Fantasia,
everybody can
hands down,
Everybody
Fantasia has
can
been killing
win.
it.
She has been.
She's been killing it. Every look, every single absolute look, and the intentionality around the designers.
Yes.
Around it as well. And she's a Carolina girl, so
Yeah.
yes. Okay, y'all got me in trouble already.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Yeah.
One more.
Okay. Am I gonna get in trouble on this one too? Maybe.
So
You are ready to have me take Oprah off her own island.
listen, it's not gonna get worse than having to vote Oprah.
No,
off
it's
our
not.
island,
It's not.
All right, the next one, or the last one, we're gonna do brands. So on the left side, I want you to do Sergio Hudson versus Christopher John Rogers.
Oh, I'm definitely going Sergio Hudson.
Sergio.
I'm from South Carolina.
I already
South
knew what her
Carolina.
answer was gonna be.
Yeah, I'm from South
I mean,
Carolina.
I tried, but I'm just
that was a
I'm
good,
from
a good
South
solid
Carolina.
try.
It's
I
always going to be
tried.
Sergio Hudson for
that's
me.
hometown, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and then the next one will be somebody you're wearing, Hanifa, versus Kahlana Barfield.
Oh, You know what? I'm going to have to go with Kahlana Barfield.
This answer shocked me.
Okay.
What? Okay. I mean,
you know what? You know
I'm
why? I'm going to say, I like Hanifa as well. I love Hanifa. I'm wearing Hanifa.
Yeah.
I'm going with Kahlana. You know, a little bit of it is, you know, she's a soror.
Right.
So,
Right.
Let's start there.
Affiliations.
Right. That was probably part of it.
Affiliations have been running.
Yeah.
But no, I just like the versatility of her style in terms of, you know, I love like dresses and, you know, a dress, the jeans, the top. So I like the versatility of it. Yeah. So that's why I would go with Kahlana.
So now we got the championship. Sergio, Kahlana. Who's it going to be?
It's got to be South Carolina.
Hometown business.
It's South Carolina. Sergio Hudson.
Hometown business.
Sergio Hudson has been, you know, he's really been doing amazing things and dressing people. And, you know, Sergio and Fantasia go together. Yeah. So it's only fitting that my March Madness brackets have Sergio and Fantasia at the top because they match.
Give it up for Sergio Hudson winning the Fashion Fantasy bracket.
Full circle.
Full circle. No pun intended. No pun intended. Right.
So yes, no, I'm done harassing you for now.
You done got me in trouble.
I apologize. I couldn't help it.
I know, but Lovey does give a blazer now. If I should wear a blazer like that, the way she could do a blazer, Angela give you a heel.
She does that.
Oprah's been giving us all the looks, honey. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So you said before that, you know, you really don't consider yourself a fashionista, which I do, but it's fine. But tell me, what is your fashion story?
So I grew up in rural South Carolina. I grew up in a town of 1,400 people on a dirt road. So growing up, fashion for me really was mostly reading Jet magazine or reading Ebony. Yeah. I didn't have Vogue in the house. I didn't really read any of those magazines. So maybe I think the teen magazines. Yeah. But I really like wasn't. Teen Vogue? Yeah, but not even Teen Vogue. But it was like whatever but I wasn't really paying attention to fashion. Yeah. Gotcha. So I mean, I wore Eastlands when I went to college in my freshman year, plaid shirts and Eastlands. You know, I didn't even have Timberlands, and that was the cool thing. So I wasn't a fashionista. Yeah. You know,
they were wearing Timberlands down in South Carolina?
Yeah, they wore Timberlands. Timberlands was a thing back in the late 90s.
No, I remember that. I just didn't know. I thought it was more of a north thing. I didn't know. I didn't know
I was like that Timberland. Like Timberland. I wore Eastlands. It was kind of like, you know, like remember the magazine?
I know the Eastlands.
Remember the magazine though? Mm-hmm. That you could order shoes.
Yeah, East Bay.
East Bay magazine. Like that was probably my fashion. Like that was really probably my introduction to like getting that magazine and looking at the stuff in there. And like I shopped at like my mom would take me to like Cato's. Okay. Payless, like Payless. Actually, I still have a pair of shoes that I wear to this day that I got from Payless before Payless went out of business, and they're my most comfortable pair of shoes. Okay. But I would say, like, you know, it was just I didn't have a fashion sense, and then when I went to college. My college roommate, Sasha Hammond, really was into fashion. Like she knew fashion, and she would kind of be like, "Oh, you got on plaid," and it made me self-aware. Like I'm wearing plaid. I'm not shading you. It was more like it made me aware that I was wearing plaid.
She's educating you.
Yes, I was educated, and she's from Northern Virginia, so it was like I'm wearing plaid and Eastlands. Yes. And I was like, you know, the student government kid, so I would kind of walk around looking like I was in student government. So that's what I kind of looked like in college. And so I don't think I hit my own fashion stride until probably maybe like 10 years ago when I started to pay attention. I really was. I've had like a journey on weight loss. So for many years, like there were only like 2 stores I could shop at: Lane Bryant, Ashley Stewart, you know, and being more, you know, voluptuous, more plus size, I had limited options. And so once I had a weight loss journey and I now could walk in the store and I can just pick up anything and wear it, it just opened my eyes to just being able to see, different things, and actually like not wearing black all the time and wearing color.
Yeah.
So the journey has been a slow journey. So I don't think of myself as a fashionista. I don't think of myself as a person that pays attention, but I do like the way I like to pay attention to how I look and how I present. Okay. Because I'm often in front of camera, so I pay more attention. But I still think I am being educated and enlightened.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's it. That's it.
That makes sense.
So some of your love of fashion came from, you know, the fact that you had to be in front of the camera ready, and like, you know, you needed to present in that way. And it's interesting. I always wonder if there's like a correlation between, like, I always think about like why I'm into fashion. I'm like, okay, is it because I'm a perfectionist? Is it because I'm artistic? Is it because I really, that just made me think about that. I'm like, why do we choose to dress the way that we choose to dress? Where does it come from?
That's interesting, because I do think like there's a part of me that's artistic. Yeah. But there's also a part of me that is structured and business advocate. Yeah. And so it is important that like I recognize often that people will unfortunately judge you by what they see, their impression of you. Yeah. And so like you want to make a great impression. Yeah. And so some of it, my fashion decisions are driven by that, by not necessarily trying to please, but presenting and representing. So it's important to me to represent who I am, to represent as a Black woman, especially having been often the only in a lot of rooms. So it's important for me to walk in and show who I am. And I think over time for me, my fashion has really also been about making statements about my culture, and about the essence of who I am, and not just how I look. And so I think that's been really my fashion evolution, has been less about how I look, but more about what is the essence that I am conveying. You know, what do you feel, or what is that vibe that you're getting when you see me, and how do the clothes, the brands that I wear, or the clothes that I wear, how do they also represent a reflection of who I am?
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So now that you consider yourself a little bit more versed in fashion,
educated,
a
little more
educated,
shaded sometimes too.
Shout out to the college roommate.
Shout out to Sasha.
What would you say your sense of style is now?
I do know I like a structured look. So I love structured looks. I like color. Now, I used to just wear black all the time because that's all I probably could wear. And also it was a little bit about my self-esteem. You know, just wearing black, it was like hiding. So now I want to be more vibrant. Yeah. I will out there. And so I do take risks now. Okay. So I've had stylists that, you know, help me with that. Yeah. And when I've taken risks, it's felt good. It's like, I don't know about this. And it feels good, you know, when I try something new. And I think also my style is conservative chic. Okay. I think is that it. I like that. The conservative chic. You know, when I do think about, you know, you go back to the March Madness and I think about the brackets, like I love Angela's style, like how it gives, you know, the chicness, but it also has like, you know, that, you know, you can walk on Capitol Hill, you can walk anywhere in it. And they're like people that I love, like, again, I've been loving Fantasia's looks of late, and there's just a lot of other people too that I just really like. Tasunda Duckett, I love her style. You know, she's the CEO of TIAA, and, you know, her style is just like, you know, she's rocking color, rocking fashion, but still like that. You know, she's a corporate CEO of Fortune, Fortune 5, Fortune 10 company, and still like bringing unique, eclectic fashion.
Yeah. We were actually having a conversation the other day, last night actually, about respectability politics and how that comes to play in fashion, how what you put on your body and how you show up. And I'm sure that's something that you've dealt with, you know, being a Black woman in, you know, really elevated corporate spaces, in political spaces, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm wondering, like, how have you navigated that? Like, how do you choose to show up in those spaces? What do you think about before you show up in a space?
I used to overthink it. So I used to overthink it. I used to be like, oh, what am I wearing? And I used to wear black and white and blazers. Like, you would see me, and it was just like a uniform. Like, pair of, like, pants and a blazer and a colorful top up under. Like, that was the uniform.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think over the last few years, and then also as, like, you know, I've transformed in terms of, like, the options. I've had a wider set of options that I've embraced, just being, like, caring less about, again, what people think. You know, of course, being respectable. You know, I'm from the South, so, you know, I grew up, like, you know, button your shirt up, don't show too much, you know. And so I embrace, like, my body, my curves, and so I am one that, you know, will show some curves. I don't have an issue with that. I think there's a balance there. But also, I'm very much been into just taking chances, wearing more color. And just, I think, thinking about, like, when I go someplace, like, just does what I have on match the environment and where I'm at. And I'm in various diverse environments. So, you know, I may be on a red carpet, I may be at a brunch, you know, I may be at the White House. So it's just sort of mixing it up. But I think overall, my style, I do lean in on, you know, being okay with sexiness, but not necessarily overkill. But I do think that there's a balance, but definitely a lot less of what I used to be in terms of feeling like I have to be buttoned up or, you know, always looking overly business to, you know, because sometimes that's like you dress sometimes to compensate for what you think people might think you're lacking. And I've gone away. I've done away with that, you know, because it's less about, again, what other people think and about how I feel. And ultimately, when I walk out the door, it's like, do I feel good in this? You know? And like, I like to do my Victoria Monet. Like, I look good. That's like the thing I want to say. Like, you know, you want to say that when you walk out the house. Like,
I look good. I smell
like, I look
good.
Because if you good, if you look good and you feel good, like, I think you whatever it is you're going to do, you do it better. You do it better.
Deion Sanders, you look good, you play good.
I didn't know he said that.
Yeah, he's like you look. He's like, if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, they pay good.
I like all of that.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to use that.
Right?
Deion got them sayings.
Deion Sanders does have it. Prime time, right?
Yes. So, what would you say is what's an outfit that makes you feel the most powerful?
That's a good question.
Stole that from Mandima.
Let's see. You know, definitely when I have on heels. I have on heels.
Okay.
I have a nice bag.
Sorry. Okay, DC.
DC's giving New York right now.
Yeah, it's giving DC. Yes, it's giving DC right now. I'm trying to think. You know, probably when I have on a dress, like more, I love a midi dress.
Okay.
So a midi dress that's somewhat fitted, not overly fitted. I feel like just super, like, powerful in that with heels and a nice purse.
Orange midi dress?
Not mini.
Midi. Sorry.
Midi.
Yeah,
midi.
I meant that's what I meant to say.
Not mini. Midi. Yes. Not. I don't know. Orange, purple.
What color makes you feel like
purple? Purple.
Okay.
Orange. I also like black too.
Black.
But I like black when it's a sexy black.
But
okay. You know.
Okay.
I like that. I love a midi dress too. That's like one of my favorite silhouettes.
There's something about a midi dress. I probably own like 50 midi dresses. Like you see me, it's like, there she goes again. There she goes again. Like, what's your nigga got on today? She probably has on a dress.
Yes.
It's probably a midi dress. It's probably somewhat fitted. And it probably has like some color or something in it. So like, you know, and it's probably structured.
Okay.
That's probably what you're gonna get from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then sometimes I throw a blazer on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No,
I like that.
I'm not mad at that at all.
I think you had another segment. Check.
Yeah, so this is going to be a quicker one. I feel like this will be a little bit easier.
Okay.
So it's just this or that. So I'm going to give you two things. You got to choose
this or that. Okay.
two things. So this one's inspired by the setup. So would you rather do ballet flats or sneakers?
Oh, ballet flats.
Ballet flats.
I think you psyched him out a little bit because you had a lot of like fly sneakers around the house.
Yeah.
Oh, you think I have fly sneakers?
I saw a couple sneakers.
OMG. Okay, let the record. Where's the camera? Where do I look at this?
There.
Let the record reflect that someone who is an expert in fashion said that Jotaka Eaddy has fly what? Say it again. Say it to the camera.
Fly sneakers.
I have fly sneakers. Okay, so I got to tell this story. I only own those fly sneakers that you see. I just got into sneakers, so I probably have owned maybe 6 pairs of sneakers in my life.
Wow.
I've only purchased two pair,
Okay.
3 pair. And so like my cousin Tammy, who was also a fashion influence for me in college, when she got her refund check, took me to shoe show and bought me 2 pair of sneakers. So I had 2 pair of sneakers back then. And then I think a couple of years ago, I bought myself a pair of sneakers for Payless, so Champs or something like that, because I just needed a pair of sneakers.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, literally, like, those 2 pair of sneakers that my cousin Tammy bought me, like, it sustained me through after college. Like, I think I was, like, a sophomore after college into, like...
Not sustained me.
Yeah, they sustained me. Like, my workouts. Like, you know, my workout routine was not that great, right? I told you I've had a journey. But, so I had those. And then I think a couple of years ago, like, 2019, a friend was like, oh, I'm going to help pick you out some sneakers. And so I picked out another pair of sneakers. And then I think a couple of months ago, last year, I got into some sneakers. And so my best friend and my sister, we went to look for shoes, largely because I was going to an event, and it was a hip-hop event. And I was like, I need some shoes. And I was going with a friend to this event. And I was like, well, what can I wear? It was like, he was like, well, maybe you should wear a dress and some, oh my goodness. Now I'm about to lose all my fashion cred because I can't even think of the name of the shoes. Dunks. Some dunks.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are dunks? So I Googled dunks.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, oh, these are dunks. So I went to the store and I was like, I'm trying to find dunks. And so I found some dunks. And I, like, wore these dunks and a dress. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And then I was like, I like this dunk thing. And so like, I went and bought some more dunks. I found out that there were the pandas. So I got the pandas because the pandas is the black and white ones.
Yeah, the entry-level dunks.
Yes, that's the entry level?
Yes.
Okay.
So the sneaker, there is a section of the sneaker community, I don't know how big they are, but they hate on the panda dunks because they're so readily out. But I'm just like, why are you hating on the sneaker just because a lot of people wear them? Like,
yeah.
Okay, so I thought that was like a staple. So it is a staple. So I got the panda dunk.
Yeah.
And then I have like these other colorful Nikes that I fell in love with when I was looking for my dunks. And I was like, I really like that shoe. Because it had like orange and all these colors.
Yeah.
And so I bought those.
Yeah.
And that's my sneaker collection. So you saw...
Like I saw half.
You saw half of my sneaker collection, and so it's just like the fact though that you said I got dope sneakers.
I was like,
I'm feeling myself.
I wasn't expecting to walk in here and see a pair of pandas. So
yeah, I'm feeling myself because it's like I got these pandas, but I did like the Tiffany, like I did like the Tiffany's, and then like so I really thought that like you could just go buy these shoes, and I was like, oh, I would like to get the baby blue ones, and they were like, those aren't readily available. Then I like learned and I did some research and I realized
Tiffany dunks are probably the hardest pair of dunks to get.
Yeah, I just thought that you could just order them, and I was like, yeah, I just want to.
Like
and a friend of mine called and was talking to me and was like, oh yeah, I gotta connect to get your sneakers. I was like, oh great. Yeah. And he was like, well, what kind do you want? I was like, oh, I want these. And he was like, yo, do you know what that is? And I was like, no, not really. But anyways, I digress.
You gonna
just for the
call
record,
Tiffany to get the Tiffany dunks. Like that's how exclusive
maybe
they
that's
are.
the goal, right? That's
Right.
But that's to the extent of my sneakers. But the fact that the sneakers that I do have, like the 3 pair that you have seen,
okay,
I'm at the top of the line here. I'm doing something here. Okay.
you psyched him out.
Yes,
I like it.
I psyched you
But
out.
they were good choices that you had.
And you can totally edit this out, but I just had to tell you this story about.
Gotcha. Nah, this is
This is staying in.
This
I don't know. I
one.
might be embarrassed when I go back and watch it.
No,
be
you
like,
won't, because I was like you. I was
like
like
that?
you. Yeah, I would say like 2019 is when I started getting into sneakers. I knew nothing. I still don't even really know like the names. Every episode, I'm like, Chuck, what are these called? Like, and I have a lot of sneakers. I'm like, what are these?
What are these?
I never know.
Are you a sneakerhead?
I wouldn't say I'm a sneakerhead, but it's also like I feel like, especially with sneakers, as long as you like them, just wear them. Like even if you don't know the name, if you like them, just wear them. Like that's where I feel like taste comes in as well too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Like, cause I was talking to one of my friends about this. I'm like, I don't know a lot of brands. I just like what I wear. So it's like I can't tell you every brand that I wear, but when I go in a store, pieces speak to me. Like sometimes I'll see a piece and I'm like, I have to buy this. Like I don't care what brand it is or what it is. Like, and then I thrift a good amount as well too. So it's like I'm not looking at brands in the thrift store. I'm just looking for something that catches my eye that's still in good condition as well too. So I don't think you need to be so brand conscious. Just wear what you like. It makes it easier.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, I do have 2 other additional pair of sneakers. I got to give the other sneakers in my collection is due credit. I did buy me the little Cole Haan.
Okay.
The little white sneakers with the little gold on the back.
Okay.
I love those. Those are like my airport shoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I wear those in the airport, and then I like another pair like just white.
Yeah. Cole Haan makes good shoes.
Yeah, Cole Haan good shoes.
Good shoes. Yeah.
Okay, 2 more. Ebony magazine or Jet magazine?
Ooh. It would have to be Jet.
It would have to be Jet.
Because Jet came out once a week. So it was 50.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know, Jet always had at the back, it had all the music at the back. And I remember I would always flip to the back because I love music. Like, that's what I love. Like, you know, the art that I love is music. I love listening to music. I love singing, all of those things.
Okay.
I'm not a singer. I just like to sing. But
she be
tearing up them karaoke bars, huh?
You
tearing up them
especially in another
karaoke
country.
bars.
Do not tell me I'm not the queen of karaoke in somebody else's country. But yeah, but I definitely used to love like turning to the back. And then the Jet Beauty of the Week.
Yeah.
Like it was always like great to see like, oh my gosh. And like now that you think about like the history of Jet and the news, like Jet also had the news every week. And I just remember like, I think everybody know where they used to be when they used to read Jet magazine, like in most houses where the Jet magazines were. But I would just spend time reading Jet and just sort of getting informed as a child. And so I just think what Jet did for the culture is definitely Jet for me. Although Ebony is right up there as well.
Up there.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not going to like me for this last one.
Ooh.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I'm just throw this out there. Listen, everybody in South Carolina, don't hate me. You have to choose between Asia Wilson and Dawn Staley.
Really? Oh my goodness! You are like okay.
He's so good. He's so good at these.
I know.
I was like,
okay,
wow.
it's Dawn Staley because Dawn Staley
like
helped develop.
It's just
Asia
she's everything.
Dawn Staley is a
love
goat.
Coach
That's my
Staley,
friend.
dog.
That's my sister. Dawn Staley is. She is what she has done as a graduate of the University of South Carolina. I was on the board of governors of the University of South Carolina. I was, I think when I think about Dawn Staley and what she does, not only for South Carolina, women's basketball overall, but basketball and sports overall, how she is an unapologetic black woman. And also her fashion. Like, you got to pay attention to Dawn's fashion.
She be dripping on that sideline.
And now that is a sneakerhead.
Yeah.
So Dawn's sneaker collection is like, I'm not even a sneakerhead, and I'm always like, oh, what's she about to post now? But just who she is, the person who she is, her advocacy, her craftsmanship, her just the human she is, I cannot express how much I absolutely love, adore, and admire Dawn Staley. She is just an amazing human being, a beautiful spirit, and I'm just blessed to know her, and so it's always gonna be Dawn Staley for me.
I mean, either or, you can't really.
You can't go wrong with either or. And shout out to Asia on her new book.
Fire.
Her new book, her statue at the University of South Carolina as a Black woman. Like that's just, it's just monumental. She came many years after I left, but I've seen her play, and I just think that she's also just, she's amazing for South Carolina. She's amazing for the culture and sports overall.
And she's a dog on that court. Oh
and
my
she's
God.
Great.
She's
I mean,
a dog
South
on that
Carolina,
court, boy. Yes.
So you know what? Wait, we got Carolina at the top of all of these things. We got Dawn Staley now. We got Fantasia. She's North Carolina, and Sergio Hudson. There's a theme here. Great things come out of Carolinas, right?
Yes. I'm digging.
I like the Carolinas. Okay. Yeah.
All right, I'm off your back for this episode. I promise, or maybe not. We'll see.
All right. Well, I feel like when I first approached you about this episode, and we were just chit chatting, getting ready to figure out what we're gonna talk about. Yeah. One thing that I feel like you were emphatic about, and one thing that I feel like is very much so in alignment with what Chuck and I want to do with this platform, is basically recognizing Black folks in the fashion space and what they're doing, that representation piece. I know for you that it's actually core to what you do on a day-to-day, your work in equity with Sephora and the likes of that. You this is what you do. So I'm wondering, from your perspective, what needs to be done to improve representation of Black folks in the fashion industry? And maybe I'm going to ask you to start with, because I feel like it is better in some areas than others. So I'm going to ask you to start with high fashion, couture, that level of the fashion sphere. What do you think is needed?
Well, I think that we need more ownership, because I think it starts at ownership. Yeah. It's not just who's on the runway. Yeah. It's who's owning. Yep. That's where the power is. And so it starts at ownership, more ownership. I think also when it comes to who is sharing or who's saying yes and no. That also has to change too, and there has to be more diversity and equity in that space as well, because often the gatekeepers are the ones that will lead society that this is what's in, this is what's hot. Although culture will always course correct what the gatekeepers are where they're trying to steer us, but there has to be diversity there, and who actually has that microphone. That has to change, I believe, and expand as it relates to diversity. And I think ultimately, the ability for people to the barriers to entry, they have to be broken and taken down, because there's so much talent, but often the opportunity is not there. And so how do we make sure that the barriers to entry are removed, so that we can have people who have the talent can actually have the opportunity. So I think that's when I think about couture, I think about who really owns it? Who are the gatekeepers? Who are telling people? And then also, how do people get access to that? Yeah. Because it seems like this far-fetched thing. Yeah. And I think if we could change those three things, then I think we could begin to change the dynamics of all of fashion.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. I think that's all important points, especially the microphone piece. And you also think about the fact that one person has held the microphone for quite some time. We had a little bit of a passing with Edward Enninful in the UK, British Vogue. Of course, who's taking on British Vogue? Someone else. Do you know? I can't remember right now. Yeah. But he did a lot when he was in that position of power, and you could see it. In just the front page of the magazine. Yeah. And so, that sort of transition really helps. Yeah,
I think about Andre Leon Talley. Yeah. And what he meant to fashion and what he did. And you think about people like June Ambrose and others. When I think couture and I think high fashion, those are names that come to mind. Yeah. And the fact, and I know that there's so many that I don't know, because I'm a self-proclaimed novice when it comes to fashion, But I also know that there have been gatekeepers. I think people always think Anta Wintour, you know,
Yes.
like she has held the gate for
That's
so
who
long.
I was referring to.
And it's like, you know,
Quietly.
does it have to
Yeah.
be just her, or
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
where are the others? And I'm not saying that I don't know her at all, but I've never
Yeah.
met her. But what I do know is that I don't think one person should have that much power.
Yes.
As
Yes.
it relates to the microphone
Yeah.
or the direction
Yeah.
of fashion
Yeah.
or crowning who's hot or who's
Yeah.
not. And I
Yeah.
think what I've loved about, you know, particularly like the, you know, both social media has its positivity and it also has its drawbacks. But I think
Yeah.
one thing that's been positive about it is that it has opened more microphones. And
Yes.
so maybe those microphones aren't necessarily, quote, official or the microphone that is the loudest, but I think it has bloomed many microphones. And I
Yeah.
think it has expanded the ability for others to be seen, and to push through, and for true culture and diversity to really rise up.
Yeah.
Despite barriers being put in place
Yeah.
for that not to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think social media really does help, but I think one thing that I think about a lot in the fashion industry is like it's an expensive industry to break into. And so like the ability to go viral does not necessarily translate into the ability to produce capital or get investment to be able to start your company.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the power, so much of the power lying with someone like an Anna Wintour, you know,
A
makes
Bernard
it.
Arnault,
Yes.
like those people
Yes.
behind those, like, because I'm sorry to cut you off,
No, you're
but it's
fine.
like it's really the funding. Like we need
Yeah.
we need the Black LVMH, the Black Caring Group, those
Yeah.
big companies that are willing to invest in Black brands. That's how a lot of those brands survive. So I feel like until we get those, you know, people who are VCing, investing, and willing to do that into Black fashion brands, I think that's when we'll start having a change. So that's when that virality can start to turn into actually
Exactly.
something more fruition, is when we have a larger Black fund that's willing to invest into us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you're right when you talk about VC funding, like having been an executive in the
Yeah.
tech industry and spending a lot of time, you know, knowing the statistics and the facts that, you know, when you look at VC venture funding, Black women receive less than, you know, a percent.
Yeah.
You know, not even a whole percent, like what, 0.3%.
Yeah.
Small business loans, less than 2%.
Yeah.
And yet we set and define culture.
Yeah.
And when you look at the fact that white men make up approximately, I think, about 30% of the population and of the population, but control nearly 96% of venture dollars in this country. And so who's making the decisions? Where
Yeah.
does the true power lie? In terms of the ability for entrepreneurs and those who want to break into the industry
Yeah.
to be able to break into the industry, because you're exactly right. It's not just about people seeing your brand, but it's your ability to produce, source, you know, shelf space, all of those things. And so I think that the importance of advocacy, like, you know, even though it's a beauty brand, I think, you know, it's still fashion and beauty. With Sephora,
Yeah.
like even like, you know, working to advise and serving as an equity advisor and seeing, you know, how conscientiously companies and corporations and particularly big conglomerates, they play a very important role in how successful a entrepreneur can be
Yeah.
because of the decisioning of just shelf space.
Yep.
So if you think about, you know, we talked about Kahlana Barfield Brown. You think about like a Target having like her products in space. So like that's a lot of hard work. You think about like Lip Bar and
Yeah.
other brands. Like it
Yeah.
takes a lot to break that, and it's also a lot of power lies within companies, larger companies, well-resourced companies, either whether or not they're going to fund, or VCs that are investing, or
Yeah.
companies that are creating the space and the platform for these products to be sold and or seen.
Yeah.
That ultimately has to change if we're going to see the greater diversity that is needed in
Yeah.
the industry. The last thing that I will say, I do think that when you talk about high fashion or just any fashion, it's so so Eurocentric.
Yes.
It's like when anybody thinks fashion,
Yeah.
they think Italy,
Mm-hmm.
they think Milan, they
Yep.
think Paris, they think. No one thinks Accra. No one thinks Nairobi. No one thinks Cape Town. They're not thinking about Africa or other parts of the world, South America, Brazil, or other parts of the world. Like I think when we think fashion, we just go Europe.
Yep.
And all the major fashion shows are in Europe. And so if everything is based in Europe, even sizing, and I speak as a woman that, I don't wear size 6, but I've also been a woman that wore plus size. And so that body style, when everything was built around the body size of a European woman, that doesn't really speak to me. So like the shape of the clothes don't speak to me. And so I think just even at the root of like when we think about fashion, like anybody think fashion, they go to Europe. Like nobody, I don't think naturally when you think high fashion, I'm not sure if you polled 100 people, I'm not sure how many of them, I don't think more than 20 of them, when you think high fashion, their mind will go to Accra, or their mind will go to Cape Town, or their mind will go to Nairobi or other places on the African continent. It's naturally going to go to Europe.
Yeah.
And I think that has to change.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. I mean, I told Chuck, I said, I want to go to Lagos Fashion Week, like this year or next year. Like I want to go. I want to talk to, because the level of artisanship, help me y'all, that is coming out of Africa is beautiful.
The tailors are unmatched, though.
Tailors unmatched. The dyeing of the fabrics is unmatched. The patterns, like, gorgeous stuff.
And I think we've seen over and over again the appropriation, the theft, and some would say enlightenment. I think it's variations. I think we've seen all variations. So it's been, some of it has been enlightenment, some of it has been appropriation, and some of it is downright been theft of that cultural brilliance of African designers, or even just the culture, into what is more Eurocentric dominated fashion. And we see it, and and sometimes I think like when the culture or people gravitate towards it, it's like, are they gravitated towards this brand? Or are they gravitated towards this thing that is this vibe that comes from our deep culture?
Right.
I think it's the latter, but I do think that we have to continue to address that and call it out. And so I've been just glad to see that when we have seen that society and the culture will call it out.
Yeah, they certainly have. And like, I'm even thinking about Olivier, which, he's a black man. So like we love that he has elevated and in that role and position of power with Beaumont. He did it at such a young age. But, there were whispers that aspects of the show, were reminiscent of other smaller artisanal, African and black brands. And it's like, you being in that role of power, part of your role is not just to lift up kind of like, what's authentic to African culture, black culture, but also to bring those people with you.
Bring them with you. I think that's the thing that, like, and I think that goes across the board in any space. Like, having been in corporate spaces and it's like, I feel like there is a deep obligation on my life and on my blessings to make sure that the door is always widened, that I'm bringing others in, that, if those that are pushed to the margins are put back in the center. And also it's a sharing on the microphone, and sometimes it's just handing the microphone over. And I think when we're in those positions, I think it's important to be able to do that. Well, let's go into our last segment, one of our favorite ones that we. You're gonna get me in trouble again.
No.
Chuck has been getting me in trouble.
He has. This is a painless one.
Okay.
All right. So, what is your favorite black fashion moment?
Oh, okay. It has to be one that's memorable for me.
Yeah.
That when I think about black fashion moment, it was the Oscars.
Okay.
When Halle Berry won her Oscar. I don't know who her dress designer was, but I just remember feeling like
I can see the dress in my mind.
yes, it's like you it's an iconic.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like this iconic one. It's an iconic moment because it was historic.
Yes.
But I remember always feeling like that dress was so classic. It was so classy. It was so like wow. It looked beautiful on her. It just looked beautiful on black skin. And I don't know. It's just like that's the first thing that comes to mind when I think about like an iconic moment. Yeah.
That dress was bad.
It was so amazing.
Oof.
Like I just remember that dress and just being like, oh my gosh, that dress is so gorgeous. And when I think about like gorgeous, like red carpet moments, like I always go back to that moment.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful moment.
That's good.
The dress is by Ellie Saab.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not. Yeah. So it's
still. We wore it,
but she made it look
good. She wore
the
heck out of it.
She wore that dress.
Yeah.
Halle Berry makes a lot look good.
Yes, she does.
She sure does.
She does.
Yeah. That was really it.
Yeah.
This has been lovely.
This has been good. This was
Got it.
fun.
You did okay. I thought I was gonna get Mount Rushmore. I was waiting on Mount Rushmore.
Oh, let's do it. South Carolina, Mount Rushmore. We got to do it for hometown. So give me your South Carolina Mount Rushmore. 4 people.
Four people.
Who you got?
Okay. Jesse Jackson.
Okay.
Cannot have a Mount Rushmore of South Carolina and not have the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Yes.
Who opened so many doors in politics. So, you know, the political strategist in me, you know, looks up to continuously to Reverend Jesse Jackson. Second, Mary McLeod Bethune.
Okay.
As someone who loves black women, who fights for black women, she is the epitome founder of the National Council of Negro Women out of Maysville, South Carolina, from a little town. And what she's done on the international stage and what she's done in the country, a proud, distinctive woman of Delta Sigma Theta as well.
I was waiting for that one.
Yeah, she would definitely be on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
A personal hero of mine, Dr. Cleveland Sellers.
Okay.
Who was and still is an incredible civil rights advocate and activist. Was a part of the Orangeburg Massacre in South Carolina. He taught me, so he taught me a lot of what I know.
That's what's
and I think the last Mount Rushmore would be she's not technically South Carolina because she's out of Philly, but South Carolina claims her. It would have to be Dawn Staley because she's a goat.
I'll give you that.
You know, so we got the politics, we got the activism, we got like the movement for black women, and then we got Dawn Staley for the culture and the sports.
Got you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And if I can
well
choose somebody else up in there, I'm gonna put my mom and my daddy up there too.
I mean that's like
you're not gonna put my mom and my daddy.
That's
up
like
there.
stamp. You ain't even gotta say that.
Yeah.
That's stamp. Right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
We appreciate you.
This is awesome.
We appreciate you. Your energy was great.
Yes.
See, it was good.
I
She was
nervous.
so worried, y'all. She was so worried. Like I'm just like,
I'm like, I don't know. I'm
like,
not
me-
fashionable.
like
what,
me and
can I talk
Adima
about
got you.
fashion?
Me and Adima got you.
Yeah,
You know, but
we
you
got
know,
you.
you know, my sneaker. You told me that my sneaker game is like top notch. Like even though you know it's like a little smoke and mirrors, you know, paper tigers. You know, it's just gonna make me go out and try to get those Tiffany dunks. Right?
Yes.
I'm gonna get them.
Yeah,
next time.
it's
Second
gonna
pair,
happen.
size 14. Add me in there.
Oh, add you in there when I can find them. I can't believe I asked somebody. They were like, "Yeah, what kind of shoes? What do you want? I want these." I just sent a picture. It was like, "Yo, do you really know what you're trying to do here?"
Ma'am. Well, tell the people where to find you.
You can find me on social. I'm easy, kinda, at Jotaka Eaddy. So that's at Jotaka. My first name, last name, Eaddy. I'm across all channels, and also you could also follow hashtag My Friends Are Dope, and also hashtag Win with Black Women. That's something that's near to me. I believe as Black women, when we are together, we win, and America wins with us. And when we're united, there's nothing that can stop us.
Facts. Invest in a black woman.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes, invest in Black women.
Yeah.
Trust Black women.
Yes.
Respect black women.
Word.
Yes.
Love black women.
Love
Yes.
black women.
Yes. And Chuck, tell people where to find us.
At Got This in Black on Instagram and TikTok. Our YouTube channel, Got This in Black, as well too. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts. If you're trying to find all those, just go to our Instagram. The link trees are in our bio, and that sends the link to all the other places. So easy to find.
Easy
Little
to
link tree
find.
thing.
Yeah.
But thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank
This
you
was
so
fun.
much.
Yes.
You know, and I got to dress up on a Saturday morning.
Which is
And
always
show all
great.
I know. I hopefully we can tag all these brands that we
Yes.
discussed, that we talked
Yes.
about.
Yes.
Yes.
We will.
All right.
Yay.
Peace out. Peace.
Thank you.